Rem first. Zeos, why the Corda Jazz and the Little Dot Mark II? Why at the same time? Why not individual? Because I got a lot of things to do. And these are exactly the same shape and size. And they have annoying blue LEDs in the front. And they're both amps. They're just pure amps. So I figured, let's combine my issues and give them to you, the people. So, Little Dot Mark II. Picked it up on Amazon. Relatively cheap. I think I paid $160, $104. I don't know. Link in the description. And the Corda Jazz was sent to me. And this is German. And I went looking for the price. Because I don't care until it's time to review for the price. I don't want to get this and like, oh, it's a $5,000 amp. I gotta listen to this $5,000. It's just the Corda Jazz. It's whatever it is. A Jazz. Okay. So I went looking for the price. And it's like, it seems to be cheap. Like $325. But I can't find a place to buy it. So, yay. Anyway, I'll do a little explanation of the signal. I've got the OL DAC, the JDS Labs OL DAC, which feeds the Emotiva Base X. The parallel outs of that are coming here to a shit sys, which is being used backwards. I think it's being used backwards, where there's one input and two outputs, which are switchable, like that. And I just leave the gain all the way up, and then I'm just switching between this and this amp. This way there's no splitters, it's just picking which one I want to hear. So, they're very basic. One of the reasons I'm doing this review together is because they have essentially the same asses. You get, the Corda Jazz has power and an input of RCA. That's it. It's done. That's its whole game is like, give me RCAs and I'll shit something out the front that you could use. Okay, good. Doesn't even have a power switch. That's it. The back of the Little Dot, which has been, people have been begging me to do Little Dot because I have the dark voice. And when you can't get the dark voice, people get the Little Dot. And this is the Mark II, and I'm probably going to pick up the Mark III, or I'm going to hold the Mark II and change tubes. But this has RCA ins, RCA pre-outs, power in, and the power switch in the back. Which I'm against power switches in the back. So, -1 point Little Dot. As you can see, we've got on the fascia of the Corda Jazz some very cool pictures. It looks like a fucking 4th grader went nuts on this. You got the power switch, which is a very big I and O. Very big. You've got the bluest motherfucking blue LED. I didn't know what it was because it showed up, the person who owned it, and there was just black tape over it. So I'm like, oh, hadn't turned it on yet. I'm like, I'm just gonna peel that tape off, and I know exactly what's gonna be under there. The bluest motherfucking LED. Under this 1/4" adapter, it's a very strange plug. It's a Nutrix, and it's a 1/4" or 6.3 millimeter stereo. But it's a Nutrix XLR. And I went to the website. I put this in my mouth first because I'm an idiot. And they talk about it having... the Jazz uses the concept of active balanced headphone ground in which each headphone connection wire carries an additional signal such that the sum of the potentials of the wires equals 0. This strongly minimizes the energy stored and released in the electrical field, blah, 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 blah. So basically, they're saying it's a balanced headphone amp, but you don't need to use a balanced headphone connection. So that's like... it's like, here's a diesel truck, but you can fill it with unleaded. But it's a diesel truck with the same concept. I mean, I guess that would work if you compressed it hard enough and made the regular gasoline explode. We won't get into how diesels and conventional engines differ. So yeah, I don't quite get that. And the thing is, you can't even plug like a full Nutrix connector into it because it's recessed. So it's just for a 1/4". And the reason that this is shoved in there is because this fucking connection is so tight. Like I usually would just swap out 1/4". Everything would have a 1/4" and swap out 1/4". But it's so tight, I could hold the unit up by the 1/4". Right? It's fucking too tight. So I'm leaving it in there. I'm gonna swap the 3.5 millimeter. Here's the indicator you have for high and low gain, or high and low gain. It's a little waveform, and it's a big waveform. Oh, it's adorable. In is low and out is high. You get the volume. It's not even flat. Usually that would be a thing, but now So that's off-centered. It's a very, very, very smooth, chunky volume knob. It's indicated, not great, but is. The Corda logo is way too big. It's actually moving the volume control logo over. And you get this switch, which is the reason I agreed to review it. Because I usually, if someone says, hey, I want to send you something, I look at it and go, is it adding anything that I could actually bullshit about for 20 minutes? And this has built-in crossfeed. Analog crossfeed. Now, I'll explain what crossfeed is real quick. When I'm sitting here in front of these JBL 305Ps, and they're upside down and shut the fuck up, when I'm sitting here listening to music, that right channel plays right channel information, and my right ear hears it. And my left ear hears it. And that left channel, my left ear hears it, and my right ear, both. I would need to be sitting in like a wall. The wall would have to slam against my face, and then completely seal over my entire body, which is kind of sexual. I'm thinking about it now. I really want to try this. And then, you know, this way, my left ear can't possibly hear that speaker because it's in a different room, and I'm just sitting in this wall. Pretty sure they do that in Stranger Things Season 3. That's how speakers, in real life, if your cat goes, meow, it's over there, and your right ear hears it, and your left ear hears it, your left ear hears it louder and sooner, because there's an actual timing difference between the two ears. That's how good human hearing is that if a sound happens there, we hear it at the exact same moment in our ears, and we could have our eyes closed, and you know that sound happened in front of you. And if the sound happened there, a foot to the left, the reason we know it happened there and not there with our eyes closed is because the sound different, the timing difference between our left and right ear was that much off. That's how fucked up humans can hear. We could hear amazingly and then terribly at the same time. Like the fma, whatever the hell the test was. So we have amazing timing on our ears for locatability. Yet every animal on Earth hears better than us. So go figure. So that's what the crossfeed does. I should get to what it is. Crossfeed takes a signal that for a headphone is usually all left, all right, and it literally just lets a little bit left and a little bit right and to the right and to the left and to the left and left and right. So it simulates having a more normal fucking sound. Instead of it just being, there's some songs, it's very rare because I have the VU meter so I know exactly when someone does it, but if you watch a song and you have a left and right meter like these here in the program, if you hear a sound, it's only the right channel, the left channel is still showing you signal. No mixer on Earth kills the left channel entirely because it actually fucking hurts. If you have the ability to switch your balance like left and right, and you could just completely nothing in the left and everything right, and nothing in the right, everything left, your head explodes. It's just like, humans are not meant for that. So this takes it a step further. This takes it more away from the mastering artist and takes it to you, and it mixes anything from the right channel a little bit into the left, and anything from the left channel a little bit into the right. And there's many subtle levels. There's inputs, there's plugins for FooBar which can emulate that. Literally just, it does what I just said, and you could set different level. Here, all right, you ready? You fucking ready? You fucking ready? Don't take my word for it. Right here it says info crossfeed, and when you click that, this page pops up, which is all the words that have ever been said about crossfeed, including sample files. You can play individual sample. All recordings are made with the use of the Corda Jazz DAC core, and you can play individual files, and it explains exactly what the various natural crossfeed filters are doing. Okay, stop. Can I listen to it now? Anyway, so that's what that switch is for. It's crossfeed, which it's not. There's only a handful of things, and I won't even name them that I know have a crossfeed switch on them. Like digital crossfeed is relatively easy, but analog crossfeed, you're getting into some resistances, and there's different frequencies you want to not do that to because it'll sound weird. So that's what it does. That's why it's here. Now the little dot is here because you can't always buy the dark voice. Dark voice disappears. I love my dark voice. It sounds incredibly better with different tubes. And I'm okay with this little dot. But I've been told the tubes it comes with, and I believe it because they were covered in glue and tape, will be better when you change them out. So I'm judging it as a stock amp right now. Stop hitting. Ugh. So you get another blue LED. This one isn't quite as bright as the Corda Jazz. The Corda Jazz, however, is soft blue, and this is a clear one that looks like a flashlight, and I could see it flashing. I could see the 60 hertz flashing on it. So in the world of blue LEDs, both of these suck. So I'd highly recommend getting a sheet of, where is it? Do I have it in here? One of these drawers has it. Just huge dildos, just fucking huge. I don't know where it is. Up. There it is. Taillight repair panel for when someone smashes your fucking Ford F-150 when you're parked on the side of the road and you have no fucking taillight anymore. Or my Corolla in the parking lot. Just, shit, they broke my taillight. You buy this stuff. There's adhesive on it already. You peel the back off, and you just stick it over there and you have a new taillight. This whole review is basically to tell you to buy a sheet of this. It's not cheap. It's like $9 for a sheet. But you just cut this with a scissor, and then you put it over your stupid blue LED, and you get a little dull purple one. I like purple. Purple is my favorite color. It took me my entire life to figure out that I like purple and that I'm not a girl. And yeah, so I literally keep this in the drawer there and just cut it up and stick it on shit that is a blue fucking LED. Congratulations now to light purple LED. Everyone happy, everyone wins. Link to that in the description. The volume control in the front of the little dot. Because I talked about the front of that for about 4 hours getting the goddamn crossfeed explained. You get fucking blue. You got a standard 1/4 inch, which is kind of shitty looking. Like it looks like it's looks like the gold is peeling. And then you get the most interesting volume control. It's not as hard to turn as the Corda Jazz. It's a little easier. And again, you can go all the way down because it's not control. It's not a power off. And you get an indicator from 0 through 100 in increments of 1. So, and it does, if you look straight down at it, it starts at 1.5. Actually, no, increments of 2. Increments of 2. At least they're not that crazy. So it starts at 3 and it goes until 101-ish. 102. So for some reason they decided to give you full numbers. I mean, I guess, little dot, I guess. My selection of headphones for listening today, by the way, are the Argon Mark IIIs, Madhouse Audio, the closeback M1060Cs. Well, I guess if you say C's, if you say closeback, you don't have to say the C part. I've got the beloved and estranged One More triple driver audio, I just call them the Tridents, and the K7XXs. I'm sorry. Did I say that? Freudian slip. The K712s. So let's tube, because these are the dynamic, these are dynamic, these are planar, these are planar. And planars usually don't play well with tubes. It's got to do with the way the voltages work. I don't have to explain that. Go find Broken Tofu. He'll explain that shit to you. It's been a while since I put these on. Okay. Am I on this? Is that playing? That ain't playing. Now that's playing. Am I on this? It ain't playing. Now, I've done testing before this review between the Dark Voice and this. Now, and it's just, it would be a pain in the dick to like reach over to plug it in. And the Dark Voice is using modified tubes, so I don't want to, it's not really a fair comparison if I shit on this one versus that one. Because we're here to look at the base, the cojones of this versus the cojones of that, and we could assume there's going to be an improvement when you change the tubes. Now, 4 tubes instead of 2, smaller tubes, which actually makes them a little bit easier to find, but you got to find match pairs, because you can't just change. All right, Muse, Take a Bow, the unmastered edition. Just very quiet, and I'm gonna end up maxing this out. If I don't put the unmastered edition, it'll be loud as fuck. Oh yeah. With like 72.4. You corrupt. Definitely need this on a high gain. You behold. Switching to the crossfeed. Off. On. Alright. Interesting. I didn't know this, but when you turn the volume all the way down on the Corda Jazz, it doesn't stop playing. I don't know if that's a design feature or a fault with this unit. I'm almost okay with that. Because it's quiet. I mean, it's like, I could still hear if someone was like talking to me, I'd turn this down. But it's like, who does that? Who does when you turn it down, it's like, it never goes off. Quirks and features. It's always quirks and features. That's what this is all about. It's nothing to do with this. It's just internally, it just doesn't. I guess they want you to know it's on, so you don't turn the volume down and leave it running, but that's what the fucking blue LED is for, isn't it, folks? Anyway. So we got blue LED. It's crossfeed. I'll tell you exactly what it does. It's not nothing. Alright, Quigley Down Under, the main title. Quigley Down Under, by the way, great Tom Selleck movie. He goes to Australia, shoots a bunch of people. It's fantastic. What's her name's there with the huge titties, but she doesn't show them off. It's sad. Fantastic and sad. Laura San Giacomo, that's her name. She was on that show with David Spade. Alright, basically, when you flip on that crossfeed, there's a middle all of a sudden where there isn't. There isn't a middle, and then there's like mid-range all of a sudden is now behind you. It's not in front. It's not one of those. I've done all the headphones on it, and it always seems to be a movement of mid-range from out to in. So they're obviously taking somewhere in like the 400 to, I'm gonna say 2000 hertz range, and that's the main blend tech that you're throwing in that. It seems a little warmer. Obviously, it's going to seem warmer if they're moving mid-range from just left and right to, not mono, but to a bigger plane. So I could see how that's helpful. It's not giving me, I've played with crossfeed. My friend used to swear by it, and I was like, oh my God, he swears by it, therefore I must swear by it. And it was good, but you start to lose detail, at least in the digital ones that I was using. Because once you put up the crossfeed higher and higher and higher to the point where it actually sounds like speakers, it's taking things away from the left and right and moving them, and it starts to not be good. It starts to be more detrimental to the sound than beneficial. I mean, I know myself personally, and people have said my sound demos of speakers sound better than the music raw. The reason for that is there's microphones that sit here and here. And guess what that microphone on the right is hearing? The left channel. And guess what the microphone on the left is hearing? The right channel. So, I mean, that it's basically a function of crossfeed. When I'm doing a sound demo and you listen to it with headphones, it's becoming a crossfeed version of the original track. So, let's compare it to the how them tubes handling it. Now, these are already soft-ish headphones. And I'm not hearing a great amount of like the bass. Again, this is not a bassy part of the song, but the treble doesn't degrade going from that to this. But I'll say this. Well, that, by the way, that volume goes all the way down because it's proper. Although it only stops at 3, so it would make more sense if this one still played. All right. One of the benefits of tube that I always talk about is it spreads the sound out. Another reason why we're doing these together. Because crossfeed, which is the purpose of this amp, I can read you some, let me give you a spec, because people freak out if I don't give them specs, apparently. If you're going to buy something from me, after you watch my review, read the specs. Because maybe I don't mention something. Maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe. Just maybe. 10 watt Taillight transformer doesn't tell, how many watts? What are the watts? I don't care if you got a total of 4 Burt Brown BUF 634 buffer amplifiers at the left and right and ground out. I don't give a fuck. Give me the watts. Power uptake 5 watts. I mean, I don't understand what it's telling me. I haven't had a problem powering anything with it. And usually when you have a standalone amp that gets as warm as this one does, plugged into 110, she's usually going to push things just fine. So, back to tubes. Back to the sound of tubes. I live in the sound of tubes. Definitely tubey. I mean, that's like, Zeos is such a cop-out. He just says it's tubey. But that's a thing. Tube amps, in my mind, can be measured in like 3 categories. Detail hold, low-end change, and tubiness. And like the higher-end tube amps will hold the detail perfectly. But some of them don't have any tubiness. They don't have enough. Low-end change is a lot of very tube dependent, and this isn't murdering the low end in any way. Let me get to another song, by the way. Oh my god, Imogen Heap. Imogen Heap Hide and Seek is a song we ruined a set of $25,000 German speakers at an audio show at Rocky Mountain Audio Fest. My friend had it on a CD because he likes that song. He wanted to hear it, and they were omnidirectional speakers. I might have told this story before. They're omnidirectional speakers and German, and they had the cones, and I was like, oh my god, carbon fiber. And we put on this song, which has out-of-phase singing in both channels. And it was the worst sounding thing you've ever heard. We were like, oh god, he needs to stop this. People left the room. Because Imogen, this... You can't appreciate it through the microphone on the GoPro, because you need to hear it in stereo. And when something's in phase, there's a nice center image. When something's out of phase, both the speakers emit audio. And these were omnidirectionals in a room with plants and shit. It was just like, oh, stop it. Stop it. Worst those speakers have ever sounded. I guarantee you. But now here, oh, I'm definitely getting a cleaner treble. Yeah, no, stock tubes, Little Dot Mark II, treble cut, a little unrefinement in the treble compared to the Corda Jazz, but the tubiness that I talk about, I could describe that shit for days. The echo, the delay. It should fuck up the sound. I want a tube, because mathematically this is perfect. You check off crossfeed and mathematically this is perfect. Why would I get a tube amp? Because I want it to be not perfect. That's why I run a dark voice. I want it to be not perfect. How not perfect? Change the tubes out till it's not perfect perfectly. Did you get that? Good. So the point of the question is, does the Little Dot Mark II fuck up the sound in a good way? And the answer is yes. However, that's the answer, is yes, however. I can definitely tell there's a loss in the actual fidelity of the sound. You can do, like, that dark voice with those RCAs that someone loaned me from Reddit, and I'll get back to you, but I have 900 new messages and I can't find you. Keeps the fidelity as close as it can. You can't keep it all, because you're going tubes. You can't keep it all, because if you do that, then there's no point. But it keeps enough of it, and then adds the tubiness. And this is chucking away quite a bit of fidelity, but it's real easy when you're doing this. Yeah. It's like exciting the electrons. I should probably swap out to a different headphone at this point. Why not? Why not you? Why not you? One more triple drivers, aka the Tridents, aka the best headphones I heard all year, aka, did I just tie a knot in my fucking, oh god, hold on. Any other reviewer would cancel their review. This is the Z Reviews. We gotta be abreast of the situation. Ha 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 ha. Rem's got boobies. Get the fuck out of here. This is gonna be on the next best of Z Reviews, I know it. Best of Zeus Pantera 5. Can it be to the Star Wars soundtrack, please? Thank you. Alright. See, on this track, crossfeed does almost nothing. Now, that could be a combination of the headphones doing it, but I think it's more the track. Give me a real track with vocals. I have this problem with vocals that I don't have any. Loud. It's weird. It's weird when you lower something down all the way and it doesn't stop making sound. I mean, I guess I could just shut it off and it's eventually going to shut off. It's still not off, and now it's off. And it actually made a pop sound, like boom, boom, when it shut off. So, and it pops on. A lot of people will be very upset with that. Tchaikovsky, fucking MP3s. There we go. It just, yeah, the crossfeed is not doing, I'd say it's not doing enough to really sell me this product. I mean, it's there, it's doing a thing, but it's just doing a thing. And that thing is not enough of a thing to be like, oh yeah, I need that switch in my life. Because it's a good, solid headphone amp. It's a clear, solid headphone amp. And you flip a switch, and then thing happens. And it's all right. But it's not... well, here's the thing. More things. But keep saying thing until the fucking review's over. All those headphones that I have up there don't need crossfeed. If you have a headphone that needs crossfeed, maybe this helps you out. But I've never listened to my 712s or these One Mores or even these closed backs and been like, you know what? They really need to sound more. They don't. They've never needed to sound more blended. Ever. That's loud. I do love these One Mores on a tube, and they definitely are happening. Get out of the 70s, please. Ooh, low end. So I'm testing a little bit of low end on Otis Taylor. Otis Taylor plastic spoon. It's nice rum. Actually, a little bit stronger low end response on this particular song. On these particular headphones. That's the thing about reviewing shit like this, is if I reviewed it with one pair of headphones, that is so not the story. But I'm Zeus Pantera. Look at my fucking... the banes. Look at the banes of my existence. They are everywhere. So I get to play with these things. With any number of shit. Plug it in and see how that goes. Maybe that does differently. So I could tell you right out the bat, this is a good starter tube amp. It absolutely is. It has my recommendation wholeheartedly. The blue LED, I taught you how to fix that. It's well enough constructed. Oh, by the way, you can open it up. They came with two jumpers, one of which is on my floor somewhere, and the other which is over there. And you can jump it out to be less powerful, which I was unsure about why until I put some really efficient headphones on there. And then it was like, and it was loud. And I could hear the low quality of the two. When you have it and it's just super efficient, it's picking out all the goddamn mess inside. If I plug super efficient headphones into that Emotiva, I can move the volume control like that far, and all I hear is like the noise at the hum at the bottom. The noise floor is like, oh, you found the noise floor. So the only reason you'd open this up to put those jumpers in is if you're using crazy efficient headphones, which none of these are. None of them are. And then you would be able to, you know, adjust the volume properly and keep things from just being, But for a starter amp, for a starter tube amp, yes. I do recommend you get real nerdy, though, and start looking up these tubes. I don't know if you can, because tubes are like a thing, like you can't go to tubeslovebutts.com. Guarantee that euro is bought right now. tubeslovebutts.com and, you know, find just, oh, I have the, it would be great. I don't know if I have the what did I just do? Oh, stop. I don't have the ability to set that up myself, but if you go there and say, I have a little dot Mark II, and it'll be like, here are the tube sets you could buy. I don't think that exists. If it exists, for the love of God, tell me about it. Because as far as I'm concerned, shopping for tubes is like shopping for sun visors for a 1987 Ford Thunderbird. It's like you got to go to the place that has the Thunderbird visors. Only the right sides is that place. Where? Where? I mean, go to eBay and I can start typing in N2X735, and it's like, is that the tube? Is this the tube? So I don't play in the tube swap game. I wait for people to send me things. I'm like, this works? Okay. So play the tube swap game a bit. Learn. Teach me about it. Because I'm a busy guy. I can't. And then I absolutely, wholeheartedly recommend the little dot. The Mark III little dot is like $300. And that's more along the lines of the cost of the Dark Voice. Maybe a little more than the cost of the Dark Voice. But it is a bigger, it's actually about the same size as that. So I'll pick one of those up. Thank you, Patreon, for, giving me the ability to say, I'll pick one of those up. And I will give that a little baking test and see if I can cook cookies on top of it. As for the Corda Jazz, hi. Why do I need you over a Mk2? I can't tell you. Because the crossfeed, it's got a high and low switch. It's very, very weird. It's smooth. It's big. It's got vents. It's German. I think it's German. I think it's made in Germany. Everything I see online is like German, from the Germans. So it's like, all right, I get it. It's honestly an affordable $300 for a German-made power amp. But if you own a BMW and you love your key fob, then you want one of these. Otherwise, something this size that's literally a Mk2 would probably do you just as good. Or you could take the sort of money for that. You can get an X7S with balanced, actual balance, like with the connection and not just what they're saying it's doing. I don't hate it. Well, I mean, the fucking blue. Okay, let me rephrase that question. I fucking hate some parts of it, but I don't hate it in general. I don't hate it enough to be like, don't buy this. If you want to try crossfeed, if you have a pair of headphones that a pair of headphones was like it needed crossfeed. Oh God, was it the X2s back in the day? Because they were so soundstage that when you cross-fed them, they sort of like blended in. I think it was the X2s of my first review. But I've gotten used to that now, and I actually love that fact about the X1s. So, hi, Corda Jazz. I'm okay with what you're doing, but I don't need to buy you. And hi, Little Dot Mark II. I'm okay with what you're doing. I didn't get to any of these other headphones, but that's fine. That's fine. Reviews are going to be 4 hours long if I had to play with all. I've played with all of them already. I like what you're doing. It's easy enough to swap the tubes. You really just yank them out. Just don't break them in your hand. That's my biggest fear, by the way, is like going to plug a light bulb or two. Oh, I'm cut all down my hand. It won't happen unless you're real stupid. But you can just get a pair of leather gloves or something and pull these off. Make sure they're clean. So, yes, I like the Little Dot Mark II. I think you should put it on your desk. Oh, can I stack these? Oh, everything's very, very tight here. Oh, my God. Oh, look at that. Look at it. Why didn't I review it like this? Why did you review these two amps at the same time? Because I can stack them. Look at that. That's fucking a thing of beauty. Is a joy forever. You got the solid state. Now the only problem is you can't send... Oh, and I did have the pre-outs of this, by the way, on the Audio Engine HD6s, because I was trying to help those poor ass speakers out, because I was just not in love with them. I thought maybe a little bit of tube would do it, and you do have to unplug the headphone to make the tube pre-go. So that's something that I'm now telling you in this part of the review. But yeah, so I like both of these. Neither one of them is getting a negative. I just don't see the Corda Jazz being like the next hot seller. The Corda Jazz is not happening. It's a little too much money, it's a little too hard to find, and it doesn't add enough to the genre of headphone amp all by itself that makes me want to tell you to buy it. But this, when that isn't available and you want to start, this is probably the cheapest tube amp I'd look at. What about the Valley? What about the shit Valley too? This is the cheapest tube amp I'd look at. The shit stuff with like a single tube is like, this is good. Good, because if you're going for cheap China, this is where you start. You get 4 different tubes from any other place, and it'll be good. I can't wait to hear the 3. Anyway, links to stuff. Certainly the little dot, then the Corda Jazz, and just for shits and giggles, the Magni 3 and the Sis. Because the Sis did assist me today. Did you get that joke? Is it a dad joke yet? Wallpaper also downloadable in the description. There's no sound demos for these things. But Patreon link in the upper right and down there. And are we good? I think we're good. Good.